So what we are discussing is regarding the BRF plus. So BRF is nothing but business rules framework. When this is not new to the SAP or S4HANA. Basically, BRF is existing from almost 2009-10 since the new dimension models are in scope, like transportation management, TWM, anything. So we can create this BRF plus not only for output determination, for any kind of a TBRVC, the transaction tables, or any kind of a tables. We can use this BRF without mapping or without making any code changes. So same way, this functionality is enabled in the BRF for output determination. So where I use OPD transaction for maintaining the condition records. The prerequisite is for me to activate the BRF for that particular application area. I need to activate in that application area, say sales orders or deliveries or billing. So once that application is active, I cannot make use of for NACE transactions anymore. So NACE will be automatically disabled. So before we go for any implementations, we need to check what is the usage of the niche transaction in the current business process as is process. So if they are using some facts or special functions or any other functions which are not available currently, say ALV settings or any simple mail or any kind of a mail, if it's not available, then we can directly go for BRF. We can suggest the customer or client to use the BRF. But if there are some transmission mediums or say instead of print they want something called as a send, or they want something called as special functions or task as event, so which is currently not available with the BRF plus. So in such case we cannot make use of the BRF. We need to go with only the niche transaction. So this is the first discussion we need to bring to the customer before we go and implement any output determinations in OPD. So assume that the customer is okay with the output determination and we have activated the BRF. So once the BRF is activated, you need to go for OPD transaction to maintain the conditions for that particular application. So there are 8 entries, steps basically. We call them as a steps in the BRF. I'm just in this. So I can access using the OPD transaction directly from my GUI. It will enable me to maintain the transaction in directly the network platform. So say I have maintained it for sales. This is my application area. And what are the determination steps? We have output. Okay, and we have different other transactions. Receiver, channel, printer, email. These are all currently not available. These are all brought in by the expressions and the domain fields and the elements. Okay, the BRF plus is a workbench request which will make sure for each application what are the steps required. Okay, currently so since this OBD for output is enabled by the business or enabled by the SAP, so we have these options. So in such case, like for example, where you want to create on your own the business BRF workbench. So you can go to the BRF plus and say for which object you want to create. So I'll just tell you the recent example. What we did is, so we have a tax determination for certain European countries where it will go for one source system. Okay, and in US it goes to the Vertex basically, not Vertex, Vertex system. So for this, currently we have multiple tables. We need to maintain different tables, and those tables we call them as a transaction tables. Okay, so TBRVC, I think you might have heard, right? This is completely a variant table where I will maintain everything in the table and we can call it into the program. It can be a usage based and it can be useful for multiple times also. Instead of using a TBRVC for multiple functions, because we need to maintain it for sales organization, we need to maintain it for the document type, the customers, and some currencies also. So like this, if I want to build a TBRVC, it is not possible, because TBRVC we need to make use of what is a low value, high value, right? And the variable will be always 1. But in my case, I need to consider all those things. So some 6 or 7 inputs, and the output will be on which date or what is the date I want to send this one source, and on that date what is the current price, the one source system will bring my the taxes. So this is MWST or UTXJ or whatever based on the customer country. So for this, instead of we maintaining any Z tables or anything, we make use of the BRF. So there we just created one expression with the sales organization with all the combinations like a partner, sales organization, the process, continuous or anything, document type and output screens. What is the value you are going to send? What is the value you are going to receive? So this requirement we started almost in the month of September and we completed. This is a new tool, table we built in the BRF instead of using the customizing. So same kind of a requirement, you can use it for any kind of a module. It's not specific to our SD or MM or any kind of a module, because this BRF is across the ES4 system, can be implemented or can be used any kind of a system, any kind of a process. So once you maintain the BRF plus for or BRF activate that for that particular application, once you save the entries, okay, and you need to maintain the condition records using for output or receiver or channel, whatever it is. So this is generic to the specific. So if I maintain only for output, and it will be copied for all the sales orders which are created under the document category and the sales document type. And what is your output type? So these two are input, and the which are highlighted in the blue color are called as a output screens. Is it clear?
Yeah. So here document category and document types are called as elements.
Input screens.
Sorry?
This completely, these two are input screens and this is output. If I pass this, I will get this as output.
That is true, but when we talk about application and function and so on, so this is called as element.
Yeah, element, database elements, and this is a expression. Your output type is expression. So this application, under the application, you have a multiple.
And what is the function? I mean, output type. What I mean, so far I thought it is a function.
Expression, this basically expression, or within that we have a decision tables. So if I just click inside this function, say I go into this.
What is decision table?
Decision table is for output, what is your what you are considering, whether you are considering based on the document type or document category, output type and dispatch. This is completely called as a decision table, and within the decision table each element is called as a, or each field is called as an element. Okay, I'll just open this table settings.
So decision table is nothing but a database table or what?
No, decision table is not, you cannot correlate with your above function here. Decision table is, you have a list of columns, condition columns and result columns. So what is your condition input column and what is your output column will be given in the decision table. Okay, so I'm just maintaining it for output, but sometimes I want to maintain it for printer. Okay, so this is printer setting. For the printer setting, this is completely your decision table. Output type, role, recipient, print queue, all these are all your decision. What is your decision is, I want to print for my printer settings, and what I need to enter, output type I need to enter, that is my input screen. What I will get? I will get my printer name. So that is my output. So this is completely for your expression as a printer setting. The decision table is this one, entire decision table. Okay, whole. And within that decision table, each object is called as again element. Okay, and this printer setting is called as a expression. Is it clear?
So in this case, what is the object? I mean, you said object and element both are same.
Yeah, elements are output type, role, business partners, print queue, number of copies. These are all called as elements, and the whole list of columns is called as a decision table. Okay. And we are assigning this decision table to the printer settings, which is called as an expression. And this expression will be assigned to a sales document, which is application area.
So application area will have multiple expressions. One expression will have one decision table. Is it? Can it be possible multiple decision tables can be placed in one expression?
No, multiple is not possible. No, we have this one only. We cannot create multiple decision tables.
So
one decision table will have multiple elements.
Okay, so one decision table will have multiple elements.
Yeah.
It's application area, expression, decision table, and element. Okay.
Okay. Again, if you go inside this each element, so you will have a DDIC, data dictionary object.
What is that?
Output type, right? So for example, if I click on this output type, this is my element. This element will be assigned with a DDIC object. Okay. So what is this output type? Basically, when I go inside here, values. This will be configured on what basis? So all these things you will configure internally within the element. Okay, you see this is output type. Output type is my element. Within this I have some properties. I have again is internal attributes for each element. Okay, so on what value, whether it's a text element or it is copied from the SAP table.
So this DDIC element is nothing but a data element.
Yeah, domain values, your data type, all these things will be there.
So the same concept what we can see it in ECC, right? So DDIC element is nothing but data element, and this domain is nothing but normal domain what we see it in ECC.
Yeah, and here additionally what we can say is, say for example output type, this is not coming directly from any of your transaction tables. So this is defined as a text, right? So those properties also you will define, whether it's a text value or whether you are entering somewhere in the element or what is that you are going to here, and this is attached to some binding value data dictionary. Like this you will have properties, and this depends on the requirement what you have. Say for example I will go into channel. Okay, so channel, I want to enter the role. What is the role we have? Role is nothing but your sort to, ship to, build to, and pair. So if I go into the role, the backend it will be assigned to some values. Okay, so this is my DDIC element for a role. So you cannot match this into your SAP ECC role. This is something which specific to your BRF. But if I go into the BRF plus Workbench, so backend, this will be having something, the backend table from which table you are populating. But here in the front end screen, you cannot see what is the table.
And okay, how do we see that backend table?
Backend table, you need to go for BRF and enter this element, enter this channel as your expression, and you will have all the various list and the data tables for each element.
Can we see it for one example?
Yeah, sure. I'll just open this BRF plus.
And one more, yesterday I was looking into BP, and I had confusion in this relationships. I think I don't know. I mean, what I understood is that we haven't discussed about these relationships.
Relationships we discussed. That's a relationship of customer to contact.
I mean, in background, the IMGs.
Oh, configuration, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was trying to do some modifications in the system and try to see the result, but somehow I couldn't able to.
Yeah, I'll show you.
And one more thing, in my system, I couldn't able to create a customer. I can create a BP.
But see the CVA setup. Do you see the CVA setup for that customer?
Okay.
ST document category. Okay. Application object type.
Sir, for one of the output, we don't know like whether uh, the usage of the output is through NAS or BRF plus. How do we know, sir?
That's once you activate BRF, NAS won't be enabled. It will be deactivated.
No, but without going into that, how do we know? Like after we go inside the sales order and see the output, but before that, how can we know? Any
Yeah, in
tables?
F03 you will see. Say VS02. Last time we created one document. No? Do you remember any document we created? Okay, 3 something we created.
I think it was for customer 1. No, we'll be able to check it.
Yeah.
So functionally, we can't check instead of going to the sales order or business process. So without
No,
that,
we don't know
we
no,
can't
whether it is
identify.
activated for BRF or NAS. Unless we go into the transaction, we cannot find it. But if you are there from the beginning of a design, then it's okay. But if you are not there, so this screen will be only for BRF. So if I have a billing document for this, I can show you. So billing is not activated for BRF in this case. We have one more. But we have not created any this one. I think we have created one accounting, right? Yeah, you see the difference. This is still pro forma invoice for output type is still in under the NAS. It is not activated for BRF. But if you go for a sales order, it is already converted for BRF. So only at a transaction level, or if you know what transactions are activated for BRF or like that. Clear, right?
Sorry, I'm again asking the same question. So uh, now where do we control this output? Whether it should be BRF plus or
In the configuration.
In the BRF transaction itself, right?
No, not in the BRF. In the GUI only. In the SPRO S4 system, we have a cross application functions. So here we have output control.
Oh, okay.
So in this, you are managing the applications. So this is activation. Okay, so currently you see the sales document is enabled and it is active for BRF. Billing document is not there. So that's why billing is not showing as an ace. Application. Yeah, so this is my application, and this is a decision expression what I created, and decision table for output type. I have these many. Okay, I think we used a different one, document category views. Yeah, so you see this is in the backend, it will be assigned for this. You see the SD document type category in the your normal BRF screen, you will see only the element. But under your BRF, if you go inside the workbench request, you will see what is the domain value and what is the DDI element. All these things you will see in the workbench only. So backend, this assignment will be enabled to see in the front end. Okay, so if I go into the output category, output type, you see the document category as this. But how the document category is coming like this? In the backend, you assign the your VB type. So this is nothing but your SD document type category.
Sorry, where did you see this? How did you go there?
This is in the BRF workbench. This is, you see here.
Okay.
Workbench plus. So this normally you will not have access in the real time. This is only the person who is having Webdan Pro or BRF guy will be having access.
Okay, so BRF Plus is where we do the developments, and that reflects in OPD.
OPD for your application type as a output.
Okay.
But if you are going for some other, then you have to find what is the application. So the linkage is like this. One is output is my application, and output will be assigned for my expressions, and expressions will have the elements. Before elements, we have your decision table. Decision tables will have elements, and elements will be assigned with the DDIC values, which are data dictionary values.
Understood. And okay, so and BRF Plus activity normally in any project, in any of the implementation, it will be by NetWeaver team, right?
No, BRF team. BRF is a separate
team.
project, yeah, separated module altogether, and they will be having the knowledge on Webdan Pro and JavaScript.
Webdan Pro.
Okay, so this is what we discussed on the BRF. So it's very simple. Initially, we will get a lot of questions because we will be working on the output from a long time, right? So with the transition 1-2 months, it will take some time for us to understand what is BRF, what is how normally we go and relate with your niche transaction. So that we should not do. Okay, both are completely two dimensions. There is no relation between these two.
Yeah, understood.
If you take the BP, right, business partner approach, BP approach, somewhere we are relating to KNA1 customer and all, so that's okay. But this is completely out of your niche transaction. So that's, you should not compare. If you compare, you'll have a lot of questions. So you just think when you are trying to practice it, you understand or practice as it is a new component. You never have any such correlation with your any other ECC component, then it is easy for you to gain.
Yeah, yesterday I tried with one BP BP creation with
this, not in this, no, you in your transaction. Okay, so when you go into the BP
in my system, so I tried with BP, and I created a BP for the role, I mean general role, and also I created a customer with a role, this one FLCU01.
Okay.
And I checked the customer number in KNVB or KNA1, it didn't appear.
Correct. So the
It
reason
was available. It is available in BUD 000.
BUT it will be available. So what
Yeah.
you need to do is in FLCU01, just go and click on sales and distribution.
Yeah,
Here
I
you
did
will see
that.
the partner
I
term
did
sheet.
that.
Mm,
And unfortunately, this everything is grayed out.
correct. So that means there is a CVA is missing. CVA
And
is
how to do that?
so this setup you just see under the business partner, cross application component.